If you feel like watching a quiet spectator sport...
Oh, how high can a human body fly?
Or you fancy a relaxing day fishing...
Oh, my Lord! Killer whales got our fish. Just let it snap. Snap it off, Jim, yeah.
Or you just want to hang out amongst nature... We've got it all. There's so much to see and do in Canada. For awesome deals, visit summerincanada.com.au now.
This is the North Saskatchewan River, which was a superhighway for the booming fur, timber and coal industries that were operating here in Edmonton, the capital city of Alberta, in the early 1800s.
And while the river has a strong historical link to the city, today we're going to look at Edmonton from the river at a more modern pace.
Accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in a matter of seconds with 455 horsepower beneath you, this really is an exhilarating way to enjoy the river. It goes so fast that it truly feels like you're flying across the water. As the city reveals itself, the prominent historic buildings in the city's skyline remind us that Edmonton has a great story to tell.
There's the Edmonton Queen, which we've got over here. We've got the Hotel MacDonald. We have the legislature, which was the original Fort Edmonton site. The slump of 1999, where the houses fell into the river. Because this river is so vast, it takes quite a while, actually, from one end to the other to see the different places along it. But it's a very pretty tour.
So, Elaine, this is one of the most important bridges in Edmonton, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, this is one of the first bridges. It actually links Strathcona with Edmonton. Another significant thing about this is the flood of 1915. The water levels came so high that it was washed all the farms and the buildings down here, and they were bumping into this bridge. The water came right up to the girders, almost. Yeah, so they had to put the trains on the bridge, loaded with coal and sand to hold the bridge in place. So you can see the level from today as to what the river can actually do. It can get pretty high.
This river valley is over 1,200 kilometres long, the longest stretch of urban parkland in North America, 22 times larger than New York's Central Park. This serene area tucked away in the city's backyard is one of Edmonton's treasures, but the real treasure, that's in the riverbed itself. Now I'm talking about gold. In the late 1800s, the North Saskatchewan River was a thoroughfare for prospectors making their way to the Klondike gold rush north of Edmonton. But Edmonton City itself sits on a resource-rich land, and with a little patience, Jerry and Elaine have assured me that I too can find my own little piece of Canadian gold.
You're in good shape. Jump out that dirty water.
I think I've got to work on my skills a lot more.
Oh, I think you're doing great.
I'm going to be here a while. Look, to find out how you can go jet boating on the river with Elaine and Jerry, make sure you jump on our website and download a fact sheet. I'm going to get me some gold.
Yeah.
Many Australian cities use trams to transport their citizens around the central business area. Well, Edmonton set up just such a service in 1908. The only difference, they called them streetcars. Well, let's take a trip 100 years back in time. One of the features of this journey was that it traversed the top deck of the high-level bridge across the North Saskatchewan River, one of the highest river crossings by streetcar in the world. Constructed in 1913, the bridge has a span of 755 metres, a height of 49 metres, and offers wonderful views of this provincial capital city. On the 2nd of September 1951, Edmonton streetcar number 52 made its last journey. Now that brought to an end an era that had lasted over 40 years. It turns out that our driver Gordon was driving streetcars in that era. He had to make a career change and head off to driving buses and later on trains before he retired in 1984. In 1980, a group of enthusiasts dreamed about recreating the experience, and they started work on convincing the city fathers to allow sections of the line to be reopened, as well as rebuilding long-abandoned streetcar bodies. The dream was realised when a streetcar from Osaka was acquired in 1996. 12 months later, the service began, and since then, 30 to 50,000 passengers have been carried every year. In 2006, an ex-Melbourne tram, number 930, went into service. Originally built in 1947, the first day in Edmonton was a bit of a disaster because it ran straight off the rails as the wheel profile didn't match that of the track. This was soon sorted, and now this is one of the most popular streetcars in the service. Edmonton is a sophisticated and modern city with a very colourful and interesting past. Now, taking a ride in a streetcar, well, it's a wonderful way to view the city and at the same time delve into some of its history. We're about to dig deeper as we head off to historic Fort Edmonton. Fort Edmonton is a must-visit location if you're in town because it's A, a load of fun, and B, a place where you can learn lots about the history of the city and the region. The original fort was dismantled in 1801. This replica was constructed in 1915. Today, it's the centrepiece of the Fort Edmonton Park, Canada's largest living history museum. Animal fur was the catalyst for Edmonton's foundation because it was beside a river and adjacent to good farming land. Now, what are the uses to which the beaver is put?
Well, the beaver is the finest fur and goes to make these beaver felt top hats in London at this time, which are, of course, the height of fashion.
So could you say then that Canada was essentially founded on the fashion trade?
I suppose you could.
Hello, number please.
Now, we tend to take mobile telephony for granted, and it's hard to imagine what life was like before telephones were invented. Back in the 1920s, you needed a switchboard and an operator. This particular switchboard is of that era, and it's a fully functioning piece of gear. So, Brendan, you're telling me that if I give you $10, you'll give me 160 acres of land?
That's right.
That sounds too good to be true, but I'm going to go for it.
Certainly.
Would you set up the paperwork?
I certainly can.
Terrific. One of the busiest offices in the town in 1891 was the Land Sales Office. The Canadian government was giving land away at dirt cheap prices to build the economy and also to create a community, and it certainly worked very well. Well, Fort Edmonton is a terrific place to come and spend a day when you're in this city. To find out more, go to canada.travel.
After the break, it's a dog's life here in the Yukon, and I love it.